Good afternoon. My name is Jim Kofalt. I'm here with Stephen Howser from Evercycle. I represent Verae, which is a blockchain company. Evercycle is a circularity platform for the IT asset disposition industry and others. Stephen, why don't we start off if you could just tell me a little bit about Evercycle. How do you describe your platform? What do you do and what kind of customers do you serve?
Absolutely. Well, first off, Jim, thanks for having me. I'm the VP of Strategic Partnerships for Evercycle. We are a circularity IT asset lifecycle management platform. We are strictly the software. We do not purchase devices. We don't sell devices. We are the software platform that enables enterprise, ITADs, MSPs, MVNOs, resellers, all manage data and create that bridge between their companies and their clients. Basically, efficiency, transparency, and full lifecycle management of any device in your ecosystem, whether you have 50 devices that you manage in your ecosystem, upwards of hundreds and hundreds of thousands, and not only domestically, but globally.
So you're able to sort of track, you're the link between a corporate customer, IT devices with employees or customers that use them and return them. You're a bridge between that corporate customer and their users and the IT asset disposition or lifecycle management companies that are provisioning and retiring those devices.
Absolutely correct. Everything from the day that a new or used device gets into the ecosystem for a company, and then anytime it's repaired, deployed, recovered, retired, refurbished, redeployed, everything is tracked on our platform. That's mainly utilizing APIs with existing technology. We all have the integration syndrome. We've all been through a massive integration, 6, 8, 12, 16 months, 50, 60 people on your campus at any given time, sitting in meetings, whiteboard, none of that happens. We can integrate within a couple weeks. And the nice thing is your existing tech is our friend. Data can be pulled, be it one data point or hundreds of data points, depending on your needs, that can reside on one dashboard on one platform, which would be the Evercycle platform.
So, and you've also described these box return programs to me. So I know we have a mutual customer that came to Evercycle because they needed a box return program. One of your large corporate customers had a problem because they had a big layoff and they needed to figure out, how do we get all these devices back and where do we get them back to, and how do we get boxes with prepaid shipping labels out there? Tell me a little bit more about how that works.
Absolutely. We have people collecting a box a day or 600 boxes a day. And the nice thing is on our platform, we enable either the end client or the ITAD to go ahead and import those records, whether it is manually through a CSV or Excel file daily, or through a ticketing system from their client or a ticketing system that the ITAD uses for their client. And the great thing is those are imported each night. There's a record of them, and that is distributed to the partners, whether it is provisioning a new device, purchasing a new device, deploying a new device, putting a repair ticket in for a device to be deployed and recovered, also label programs and QR code programs. So the great thing is there are so many manual steps, and we found that companies use upwards of 5 different platforms to put a single request in. So you put it in the first platform, but then it has to be either manually or on a spreadsheet passed to the next person to put it in another system. And another system, what we found is obviously there's a lot of human error possibilities. With our automation and technology, that request can go in once and communicate to all of the existing platforms your company currently uses. It eliminates the need for updating manually all the spreadsheets being utilized.
You've got increased accuracy, visibility, and transparency across multiple stakeholders, and you're also capturing information that historically has not even been available to some of those parties involved. Right?
Correct. Yes. A lot of times we find with those, anywhere between 5 and 6 platforms, you also have 20, 30, 40 different spreadsheets maintained by different divisions of the company, and all compiled on a Friday. Everybody turns in their sheet. Someone then recompiles all that data onto a master spreadsheet, and then is shared with their clients as the weekly report. Our platform completely automates that. There's no need for spreadsheets. A lot of our clients still keep a spreadsheet because it's just habitual. Someone is always going to be using a spreadsheet. But to scale programs via automation, these tasks have to be automatic. There is no automatic in repurposing and regurgitating data onto just yet another spreadsheet.
And so because you're a SaaS platform, the corporate customer that is providing IT devices and the ITAD that's taking those devices and wiping them clean and refurbishing them or otherwise moving them along, they're operating on the same set of data. They're able to see the same data, everything's accurate, everything's in sync. The company I work with and Evercycle are partnering to bring blockchain technology to your platform so that we have increased data integrity and this absolute certainty of where things have been along the way, as well as a device history that could potentially extend beyond Evercycle. So tell me a little bit about what you're hearing as you talk to customers, partners, and corporate customers. What are you hearing about this blockchain initiative?
Well, it's very exciting. Once we get past the, oh yeah, I know about crypto, I know Bitcoin. Once we get past that definition of blockchain, they're able to expand their mind a little bit. And I tell them, look, if you can have an immutable record, which is a record that cannot be changed in regards to the devices that you are servicing and your clients own, and you're responsible for from a data destruction, deployment, recovery, repair, recycle, and retire perspective, that is critical, because this data that is being shared, as you just mentioned, it's not real time. And real time data is absolutely critical in today's world. For example, if somebody swaps out a computer and sets it behind their desk in the IT department, they have now lost track of that device. It is sitting behind someone's desk. There is personal data, company data, there's financial records there is access to that on that device. And it is simply sitting there, hasn't been locked. It is viable. With that, being able to utilize blockchain, every time a device moves on our platform, it can be recorded, whether it's deployed, switched from one employee to another, and repair, what type of repair was done to it, how does that increase, decrease, or not change the value of the device. When the company goes to retire their devices and resale them, there is a solid record of the entire device history. Capturing the previous history is still able to be done on our platform, because if we have any records prior to when it came into that ecosystem, we can record that. So starting fresh, the day it is in that new ecosystem, your company's ecosystem, it can be tracked. It has a history, and every single move it makes in its life will be tracked on our platform through the data blocks that Verae supplies.
So that could include anything from a photo of the device to surveillance video of it coming off the truck to a GPS tracking record, any kind of digital information, which then, provides a rich asset history for those devices.
Absolutely. And try doing that with an Excel spreadsheet.
Right. There's quite a lot of compliance related issues in the IT asset disposition industry. The two big ones being data security and sustainability, that is making sure that you're disposing of these things in a responsible way. So the ability to do that and to document a clean chain of custody, all of these things, I think, add a lot of value for corporate customers, auditors, regulators, and the companies as well.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk a little bit. I know we've got a couple of conferences coming up, the ITAD Summit in a couple of weeks. We've got the Siri E-Summit coming up in September, but you just came back from the Mobile Disrupt conference. I believe Evercycle had a speaking slot, or you were part of a panel discussion at the Mobile Disrupt conference. So tell me a little bit more about that event, about your panel discussion, and sort of what were some of the things you were hearing from the people who attended that.
Yeah, it was a lot better than last year. I mean, last year was a great show. And I think with Mobile Disrupt, it continues to expand each and every year. But it's not one of those conferences where volume is the measuring tool to see how good a conference is. Disrupt has done a very good job of making sure that it is very inclusive of not only just the mobile device industry. There have been outreach to additional corporations that, bring knowledge, bring value, and enable us to have that opportunity to speak with these folks. Our panel was on certification automation. What happens when Verizon knocks on your door You may be certified, you may be automated, but are you ready to handle a company like Verizon or any type of channel partner? My part was the automation. Once you're certified, how do you automate? And that's where we made sure that we tied automation with something being automatic. Again, I keep harping on spreadsheets, but it's not just the spreadsheets, it's all the touch points. When companies are touching a device, sometimes 20, 30, 40 times during its life cycle, there is a cost to that. And if those touch points are automated, be it from the procurement, once it's ordered from AT&T, say it's a new phone going out to a new employee, it is written to the blockchain, it resides on our platform. Once it's delivered, if there's a delay in delivery, every time that device moves, there is a cost of recording that movement. With our platform, it enables that to be automatic. No one has to do it manually. Hundreds of thousands of devices can be tracked every minute of the day, and no one has to worry about it. I think one of the biggest takeaways was the expansion. Yes, there's a ton of AI, but what we have to do is make sure that people are understanding AI doesn't do everything for you. AI is, in fact, a tool that, unless it's trained well, almost like a puppy, it is going to be the same throughout its entire life. As you continue to train it, as you continue to utilize different features of it, we currently use it from a valuation standpoint. If HR or finance or IT need to understand they have a tablet that needs to be repaired, the screen is cracked. It may be a 7th gen iPad. They can hit retire or ask for suggestions. And based upon our pricing methodology with AI technology, it will give them 3 options and show the $50 repair for the screen, the total value of the device. And that is a great option. They can simply click on it. The label goes out, the replacement goes out, the repair or the return box goes out. Everything is completely automated. Nobody has to print the label. So AI was the big topic. But again, 2 years ago, ESG was. And ESG is still kind of tinkering out there. But the cool thing was, getting back to the whole blockchain, when we started talking about automation, making things automatic, real-time data at your fingertips on a single dashboard, and there's a data cube blockchain history and backup information, that was starting to get a lot of traction after our panel discussion. We had 4 or 5 people that just said, we have to talk. I can't believe this. The technology is there. It's just a matter of how do we harness it and best utilize it and not overpay for it.
So actually 2 points that I wanted to probe a little bit further, because you mentioned automation and time savings. Mm-hmm. I would say that the way that Verae and Evercycle are working together, you have essentially embedded our blockchain technology in your solution. So people just do what they've always been doing. They don't necessarily need to know that the blockchain recording is happening in the background. But when they take in an asset, they click save, and the customer decides they want to record or timestamp that event on the blockchain, it just happens. So it's not any extra work. That's because you have a very rich set of APIs and you're able to make calls to our API. The integration is really completely seamless. Hyperautomation being one of the big buzzwords of today. Everybody's looking for how they can streamline and automate. This does that, but it also gives visibility to all of the people who need to see that record, have immediate real-time access to that record as soon as it's created. So from a compliance, transparency, accountability perspective, it brings it all together with with the Evercycle platform for circularity, and then having blockchain be the kind of the proof point in the background. Yep. We have timestamped all of this, so you can change a spreadsheet. Anybody can go back and edit a spreadsheet, but blockchain records are immutable, so you have rock solid proof of exactly what happened.
You mentioned accuracy. That was not a word used 2, 3, 4 years ago. It was used, but there was nothing to back it up. They'd be like, oh yeah, we have that data. Where is it? And how many times has it been parsed and moved from system to system, and how has it changed? And that's the thing. The accuracy and transparency now go together. We used to have accurate records. We had what we called transparent records, but did we have transparent, accurate records? And putting those two together, I think, has been a great key. I saw a lot of collaboration. I saw a lot of people talking outside of the box, and a lot of people in multiple meetings that I was in, new people were brought into our conversation that enabled us to take our technology and our vision and the way that we can help organizations go 2, 3, 4 steps down the line without us having to build it. And I think from a partnership and collaboration perspective, I saw more of that at Mobile Disrupt this year than I have at any other conference in the last probably 3 years.
As any industry evolves, technology evolves, and expectations increase accordingly. More and more corporate customers are looking at this saying, if you have technology that could prove beyond any shadow of a doubt exactly what happened and when, why aren't you using it? If you have technology that could give us instant visibility to exactly where that device is and what happened to it, where is it in its process following us delivering it to you, if we have that, why are we not using it? So there's a lot of benefit, I think, around adopting technology, digitization, and automation to improve the overall workflow, efficiency, accuracy of the ITAD process. So as we look ahead to the industry, and we've talked a little bit about trends in the ITAD industry with visibility and accountability being important ones. You mentioned ESG. What do you see as key trends to watch for in IT asset disposition and IT asset management right now?
One of the things that we touched on in our panel session was compliance. It's almost as if people were saying, when my auditors showed up, I knew more than they did, and I was helping them audit us. Well, the thing is, that's right now. There is a lot of regulation. There's a lot of compliance talk out there that things will be changing. If you do not have immutable records, or accurate data, or real-time data, people will leave and find another vendor that is ahead of the game. AI is not going to get all this put together for you. You have to take a step back, look at your current processes and your current infrastructure. What is the number one thing that is hurting your business? You have to understand that you have to break everything down, make sure that you understand where to focus your resources first, because just throwing a bunch of AI at your employees is not going to create a new process. It's going to create chaos. So how do you want to apply those different types of technology? Getting back to the whole compliance thing, there will be so many different ways to get certified. They're breaking these large certifications down into smaller certifications, so you don't have to be certified for everything like you used to have to be. If you're good at one thing, you can get certified in that area, and that's really nice. Compliance will also be more, be a more direct application as to what you are good at and what you are certified to do. You can't be an electrician, an HVAC person, a plumber. You may be able to do all those, but what are you certified in? Stick with that, become great at that, and really take care of your clients in that lane. ITAD became this gigantic, I do everything. And now that's being segmented via partnership. They're bringing those partners in and saying, they're really good at this. They're certified. They're good at this. We're partners. And that's why I'm so excited about our partnership. We both have our lane. We're both great at something. Putting them together makes us even better.
I think that's very true. The profile of the industry overall is going to be on the increase as well. Just this morning, there was a Wall Street Journal article about congressional hearings where the United States is looking at rare earth minerals and sort of how do we recapture more of these resources so that we're not dependent on foreign countries as much, some of the rare earths and other things. So I think from a national level, from a state policy level, waste disposal, you've got the Basel amendments impacting the flow of electronic waste across borders. There's quite a lot going on, and I think that's going to intensify as we look at the e-waste problem. Right now, we're responsibly recycling about 22% of e-waste globally, and that's based on 2022 numbers, I think, from the UN. By 2030, they expect it to be an even lower percentage because with shorter life cycles, we're getting more stuff. So the volume of electronic waste increases, and even if we increase the total, the absolute amount that we're recycling or reusing, we're still capturing a smaller percentage of that growing total. I think this is an area that's going to get a lot of attention. The compliance environment is tightening, and that's where we see blockchain as an essential piece. With your deep expertise in the ITAD space, working directly with corporate customers, working with partners in the ITAD industry, working with others like managed service providers, Evercycle really is connecting the dots for all those parties that need to be involved in communicating so they're operating from the same playbook. It's exciting stuff.
Good point.
I want to thank you for spending this time with me. Really looking forward to seeing Evercycle and you, Nate, and the others from your team at the ITAD Summit in a couple of weeks. Look forward to continuing our successful partnership.
Thank you. And once again, thanks for having me, and look forward to seeing you soon.
All right, great.
Thanks, Jim. Take care.
Bye.